Welcome, people of the World Wide Web. So this is Chris from Cypher Signal Screen Time. It's Sunday and we get a second review. So yes, this is the second movie that I went to see. Conveniently, both movies are 1 hour and 49 minutes long. So this is the fourth film in the 28 franchise. So this is 28 years later, The Bone Temple. It is an 18 rated. There is some gore and stuff in it. This is directed by Nia DaCosta. She's known for the Marvels and the Candyman movie. Not massive hits in their own right, but I like both movies. It stars, obviously, returning cast of Alfie Williams as Spike, the young lad who we saw at the end of one. We have Jackie O'Connell returning as Sir Jimmy Crystal, obviously probably related to be Jimmy Savile, but obviously copyrights and stuff like this, they can't include that. You have Erin Kellyman as Jimmy Inc. I will explain why there's multiple Jimmys in this. Chin Lewis Pang as Samson, so he is the alpha that we saw in the first 28 years later movie, the big guy. And then Ralph Fiennes returns as Dr. Kelso. So there is nothing after the credits, but there is kind of an end monologue scene that builds up to a third movie. These last two movies were directed back to back in the hopes that obviously there would be a third movie in this, and that's why they put the prelude in the end of it, which you will probably really be happy if you're a big 28 years fan. Essentially, as I say, this is the story of Spike after he leaves his dad, goes adventuring, gets inducted in Jimmy Crystal's finger gang, and then they kind of go on a bit on a rampage, so to speak, until kind of culminating with a confrontation with the Doctor in the Bone Temple, i.e. why the figure's called Bone Temple. This movie is a sequel. I thought for some reason this was supposed to be a prequel, but it's not. It's a sequel, so it's set after the events, literally straight after the events of 28 years later. I know it was an alright movie. I just had a few problems with it. So we shall get into it. Spoiler warning up, and off we go. So the movie starts obviously in a swimming pool. You have Jack O'Connor's character Jimmy Crystal, and basically he has his disciples. They are all called Jimmy, Jimmy something or other. Essentially he has 7, and basically that's the only number he can have because they've found Spike. Spike has to fight one of them. One of them gets chosen for him, and basically it's all a battle of either Spike wins and joins the gang or he dies. He fights a young lad. This big lad's been a bit too cocky. Spike ends up stabbing him in an artery in the leg and he dies, and then basically taking his place. In between this story's going on, you have Dr. Nielsen, who is getting more bones from the train that we saw in the first movie for his temple, and he comes across Samson. There's kind of going to be an altercation and he ends up drugging him, and in between drugging him and giving this kind of hallucinant state, he kind of befriends Samson because he hasn't got a friend. He's out on his own. And this is what's going on. In between this, obviously, we have Jimmy's going around the kind of countryside, so to speak. So the Jimmys in that, you meet a new kind of family. You have a pregnant woman, her partner or brother, and then their dad or something. Their dad, unfortunately, tries to kill one of the zombies. It sets off. Then they get chased. When they get back to the house, the Jimmys are all there. Are basically going to kill them all. It results in them all going into the barn and basically the family being tortured until the pregnant woman basically is escaping, helps to kill some of them. In between this, when the Jimmys are then scouting the area, they find a bone temple, and this is where the realization that Jack O'Connell's character believes he's the son of Christ, or not Christ, God, the devil even, and that basically when they see Dr. Kelso's character of all red, they believe that that's him, and that's what his disciples, the Jimmys with the last names, all think, or what's left of them, because a few of them get killed in the barn fire. Jimmy said, yes, it is. This is a new thing. And basically he goes and has a chat with Dr. Kelso, introduces himself and says, essentially, you know, I'm here, have a chat. This is who I am. He goes, I'm looking for the son. Basically, I've got my mates are up there and they're basically going to kill you and ransack and everything unless you pretend to be the god for me tomorrow night. You know, just say they need to follow what I need to say, and then we will leave you alone, and that's it, job done. So it's kind of mutual understanding. He goes away. in between this, Dr. Kelso has started to do certain drugs on Samson, and realizing because of the drugs he's given him, it's basically the virus distorts what they see, and they see normal people as like evil people, and that's why they're trying to kill him. And he goes, basically he starts giving him some drugs that could start to sort out his like delirium, so to speak, and that could kind of cure him of this, which he does just before obviously Jack O'Connell's character is going to come back, with the young lad Spike as one of them. He has befriended one of the other Jimmys, Jimmy Inc., who kind of wants to get rid of Jimmy because he thinks the main one, because Jack O'Connell's character, because she thinks that he's just making it all up, which he is, but they don't know that. They're just his disciples. And yeah, that's essentially what comes down. Samson goes off, he disappears, you see him on the train, he starts to relive images from his life. He then gets attacked by loads of infected, and then there's a big fight in the train, and you kind of don't get to see anything until the end. While that's going on, we then have the Jimmys that return up. Dr. Nielsen puts on this show with some music and fire and everything, looking like he's the devil. And then basically at the end says, yes, follow Jack and something. As he's doing this, he notices one of Spike, even though Spike's got a mask on and stuff like this, says to him, as he goes up to him, goes, but there's a sacrifice. When he realizes Spike and realize that obviously Jack O'Connell's character needs to be nailed to this cross upside down. And this is the case because Jack O'Connell's character, Jimmy Crystal, realizes he's not going on. He goes, no, he's not the devil, I lied, stabs him, and basically goes, yeah, if he was a real devil, he wouldn't die and he wouldn't suffer from this thing. They're all shocked. Basically, they all end up more or less getting killed, except for Jimmy Crystal, who gets knocked out. And basically Kelso is like, I'm trying to help you and stuff like this. The two of them decide that that's it, they're going to leave. They go off after nailing Jack O'Connell's character upside down to the cross, and as Kelso's character is slowly dying, Samson turns up and obviously has his proper consciousness and says, thank you, and which is a bit of a shame that he's fixed the virus or knows a cure to the virus, but he's now dead. The story then revolves, you have goes to a house, there's music playing, and then we see, lo and behold, Cillian Murphy's character that we've been waiting for. He's with this young girl that he's training. Obviously, this is 28 years later, so I don't remember the first movies. I don't remember if he come across a baby and how he's raised her or anything else. But they're living in this house, it's all kind of protected. They look out and hear noises and hear people being followed. That's when they see the Jimmy Inc. girl and Spike being chased, and basically they're going to go help them, and that's where the movie ends, basically leading up to a third movie. So what did I think? I rate this movie 5.6 out of 10. It took a few elements from the first movie that I liked. The Bone Temple, Ralph Fiennes' character excels. I quite enjoyed his interactions with Samson, and the fact he was trying to cure him. That definitely is kind of the doctor side and kind of have becoming friends. The thing that really lacked for me, I enjoyed Jack O'Connell's character, but his story of Lem Arc, of Lem Gantarium, just I found boring. And I know to say, and there were several points from the movie I was like, this where it's them torturing stuff and that, I was just like, I was really bored. And the funny thing is that I was actually looking forward to these. The end of the first film, which was tagged on and done by Boyle, was them doing acrobatics. Because it's a different director, she took all of that out and just went there menacing characters and kind of young ruffian lads and girls, and they wear these masks and then they just go terrorize people. And it just seemed very like, and that's what I was like, I wanted them to kind of be the acrobatic kind of fictional characters that they portrayed in one, and that like not necessarily that you had to I didn't mind Spike being inducted to him even though he didn't want to do it and befriending the other Jimmy, but I just wanted what they did a bit more spectacular. You didn't really get to see him kill many zombies and stuff. You got one or two in between it, and that literally they tortured people and they just got killed off one at a time, and it just, I don't know, just seemed very inconsistent to take out that angle and stuff. And I think taking that angle and wanting to make it a bit more realistic, I just didn't think worked for me. It is very bloody and gory, and there is like people's head and spine being ripped off and stuff by Samson. I thought it was all right, but as I say, it was just I enjoyed bits of the first one more. As I say, I enjoyed the Ralph Fiennes bits and stuff like that, but and him and Samson, but and I'm not really tied to the original, so I'm not really fussed that Cillian Murphy did turn up, even though he was in it for like 2 minutes at the end. But yeah, as I say, I enjoyed Jack O'Connell's portrayal of this Jimmy Front. I understand why they've done it and stuff because of when the virus happened and the 90s and everything else. But I just felt the whole storyline with him and his disciples was just boring up until the Bone Temple side of things. But that has been my review of the Bone Temple. What did you think? Have you seen this movie? Let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one.